The next president needs to tell Americans the truth, that the federal government has to do less rather than more.
You say you're against any piece of legislation that's going to increase the deficit. But isn't the problem for Republicans in that any tax cut proposed is going to be scored by the Congressional Budget Office as a spending measure?
Yeah, you almost have to laugh that letting Americans just keep their own money is a spending issue for Washington. Now, we're not spending the money. Thank goodness we're leaving it in the hands of the American people. So most of us as Republicans don't feel like a tax cut is something we need to pay for here in Washington. Historically, tax cuts increase the revenue to the federal government. So that is a perception we have to deal with, but frankly, I don't feel any compulsion to cut some spending just to leave taxes the same.
What is your advice for the incoming Republican members of Congress?
Well, keep your focus on our country. The real challenge here is beginning to look at parochial interest rather than national interest. The parochial interest, like taking home earmarks, is an easy hole to fall into when you get here, because it gives you press releases back home. But we need to focus on the big issues of how do we fix our tax code? How do we fix Social Security? How do we repeal Obamacare and come up with a health care system that really works? And how do we devolve education and transportation back to the states? These freshmen need to help us work on big issues and not try to focus on parochial issues.
You've stated in the past that running for president is not something you desire. We're 2 years now into Barack's presidency. Are you possibly warming up to the idea, or is it still something you don't desire?
I don't desire to be president. It's going to be a hard job. The next president needs to tell Americans the truth, that the federal government has to do less rather than more. And it's going to take a real persuasive Republican to get up there and say, I'm not making you any promises. The country is broke. We have to figure out how to do less and do it better. And I think Americans will buy that, but I'm hoping we can find a presidential candidate who's as winsome as a Ronald Reagan right now. That's what we need.
Do you think you can be that persuasive Republican?
I can be pretty persuasive, but I'd rather not be the president right now.
What has Red State and Human Events meant to you?
Well, they're part of a network out there in the media that has engaged and informed Americans in a way I've never seen before. The only reason I've been able to be successful to a degree is because I've had millions of Americans who had my back. Because the system up here has really tried to extinguish me as best they could. But because of Human Events, blogs like Red State and radio talk shows, media like Fox News, I mean, we've gotten more Americans engaged in the political process, and I think that's going to make it much better. And I just hope that continues to grow and doesn't fizzle out for 2012, because our work is really just beginning.
Senator, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Congratulations on being named the 2010 Conservative of the Year.
I'm honored and humbled. Thank you.